So if I find things that help me, work for me, I am in a place now to share with you, then that's the heart it comes from. Never, ever, 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 ever will I impose my thoughts and ideas and opinions and experiences on anyone. But if you have felt some of the same frustrations in your journey and you see how this can maybe help you, then please, by all means, run with it. If you run with it and you're like, I'm going to try this instead, then you make it work for you, right? It's your life, your journey, your vision and mission to contribute and serve this world. So you do you. I'm just hoping to provide different ways of looking at things and different ways to maybe get there with more ease and calm. Those are so big to me, and I didn't have that growing up. I didn't have ease, calm, or peace in my heart or in my brain. And it's really valuable. It's so beautiful when you achieve that. And it's a work in progress. Lesson of the day is, every time you think about the future, you are altering it. That was an interview with Pam Gregory. And she's like an analyst, forecaster, and believes, looks at planets and their placement. Like halfway through, because there were so many moments. Every time you think about the future, you are altering it. It struck me because we've heard variations of that, right? However, those words, right? Like the stringing of those words were very impactful to me. Every time you think about the future, you are altering it. So often I remember thinking about the future, right? And there's an actual term, because I went in and I had to do a little research about it, right? It's actually called anticipatory anxiety, because we're thinking about things that we can't control, right? And we're thinking, oftentimes, I know I was guilty of this, so I'll speak for myself, and that's who's speaking, my own experience. I was always coming up with worst case scenarios. I was like, if I fail that test, oh man, I'm not going to do good on that test because blah, 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 right? I was always hoping for the best, but expecting the worst. I mean, can I get a hands up in the chat if you know what I'm talking about? If you know what I'm talking about, you're like, oh man, I really hope I get that A, B, but man, I know I'm gonna not do as good as I want. And I'm just using a test as an example because y'all can relate to that. Thank you for putting your hands up and reminding me that I'm not alone, right? I'm always hoping for the best and I want to be positive and optimistic, but there are times that this brain wants to keep me safe. Always our brains want to keep us safe. So it mentally prepares for the worst case scenario so that we don't get disappointed. And I feel like I, Jovanna, not only had a tendency to do that, but an addiction to doing that, an obsession with how bad can it be. Don't ask me why. I just didn't understand the universe, and we didn't have the information we have now, right? Like, it just was a different time. And we didn't have, a back pocket piece that we could cross-reference things and get immediate results on. So I thought I was doing good by, expecting for the worst and planning for the worst and mentally preparing to be disappointed. I thought that was yeah. No, that's not what we want to do. That's not what we want to do. And I beg you, I urge you, I invite you, I welcome you all, my beautiful, gorgeous younglings, to try a better way. Yes, there is a better way. You need not be so concerned with a negative outcome that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? You expect the lower grade, so you get the lower grade, right? There's no need for that. When you know better, you do better. So may I propose that, it goes beyond just positive thinking, right? It's not just like think positive, like, yeah, I'm going to get an A. I didn't study. Unless you have that brain, more power to you. I certainly did not. But I'm just saying, I'm going to pass that driver's test without ever getting behind the wheel because I'm just going to think positively about getting my driver's license. It don't work like that. You got to put in the effort, put in the work, put in the study, put in the initiative, and take some driving lessons or get behind the wheel or, drive in an empty parking lot with a licensed individual, right? You need to do something to impact the positive result. But what I'm saying is, instead of saying, and I caught at my little niece's quinceañera last week, that they were like, oh, I'm going to fail my first test because I failed at the first. That didn't make sense. I'm going to fail my second test because I failed at the first time. I'm like, that's not how it works. You didn't prepare the first time. Prepare and you will pass, right? The point is that instead of just thinking positively, of course, be prepared, and have an ideal case scenario. So instead of saying, I am going to fail my second driver's test because I failed the first one, say, okay, my second test, hopefully it's the first, you can pass on your first because it's fairly easy. You just got to be prepared, okay? I'm just saying. But anyway, think of the ideal case scenario. It's like, yeah, I'm just going to pass it because I'm prepared. I've been driving with my sister, cousin, brother, aunt, uncle, and I did the parallel parking really well, and I got this, right? I feel good going into it. My ideal case scenario is that I come out with that license at the end of my driver's test. That's the ideal case scenario, right? Can you see how if perhaps you do not pass, it's not the end of the world. What happens? You wait 2, 3, 6 months, depending on the state, and you retake the test. It's not the end of the world. You'll take it again. Now you know what you know, and you'll do better next time because it won't be as unfamiliar of a situation. So do you see how you aimed for the moon, passing the driver's test, and let's say you didn't pass, and you fell on a star? Do you see how the star is further along than where you started? Right? That's a beautiful, cute little preschool saying. Shoot for the stars, and if you fall, you land on the moon. Shoot for the moon, and if you fall, you land on the stars. Take your pick, whichever one's further. I don't know. I haven't taken out a measuring stick to see which one's further, the moon or the stars. But anyway, point is, you're still further ahead. So you're not at square zero. You're at square 4 or 5. And that's better than square zero. At least you took the test. So that's what I want to impress upon you all today, that we can hope for the best and have an ideal positive outcome in mind to supersede whatever negative expectation you may have used to always put in place of what the ideal scenario could be. Did y'all follow that? Now watch this, guys. Just watch. Oh my God, the test. Oh my God, the test. Oh my God, the test. I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna imagine the ideal case scenario. I do great on the test. Ideal is A. I'll take a B. I'm just gonna have that expectation that it's gonna be a positive outcome. Do you see the difference? Do you see that when you have more calm and confidence, that you can approach things with more certainty and optimism? And that's what I want for you all, my beautiful loves. So, when you know better, you do better. So I hope this lesson today has served you. And I hope you think of me, us here today. Next time your brain wants to play out something other than the ideal case scenario, you go, Do something today that your future self will thank you for. Just do it. Do you see how I'm like wrapping it all together? You see? You see? You see? I'm not of the camp of saying ill-spirited words or doing ill-spirited actions towards somebody who disagrees with me. And I feel like that is what I'm seeing a lot of. And that to me is not what I want to see. You asked about the protests, and if you're asking for my opinion is that I think there is a more effective way of making your voice heard. And protests are part of our liberties in this country. However, disrespect towards authority, disrespect towards the flag of any nation, disrespect towards others, in my book, doesn't fly, and I don't like it. So when those lines are crossed, and they have been crossed, I feel very differently about the supposed peaceful protests that were initially intended to be. So you do not disrespect the flag. I was raised that way. In my country, in this country, they're one and the same. I consider myself American, even though I'm from a Dominican descent. But every flag has a right to fly in your country. And when you're in another country, that's the flag you adhere to. That's what you come to this country, and I'm just going to talk about the US because I can't talk about every country because I'm not every country. And then when you step into this country, you agree to oblige to the rules and regulations, laws and policies of the land you land in. And when you disrespect it by setting it on fire, you have now diminished your credibility in sorts, right? Because you're now disrespecting. And this has happened before in previous protests where, I said the same thing. So I don't care what the issue is. I care about how it is executed, right? So it's a heavy topic because it's difficult. You see humans around the world who are hurting, and you don't want these humans to hurt. You want to help all humans. And at the same time, it's an impossibility. Because if it were possible, I think more efforts would be that we would do that. However, I think of every country as a home, right? As a house. Each country houses us, is how I perceive it to be. And in your house, you expect certain things to be adhered to. So if in your home, you don't want kids on your furniture, if you don't want kids running around, breaking things, throwing a ball in the house, then because it is your house and you're the parent of it, you have the right to dictate what those rules are. It's obviously more complex when you have governments and this and that. However, when you look at a country as a home and other people are coming into your home, whether invited or not invited, you expect those house rules to be adhered to. And when someone comes in to your home and you are sensing, feeling, or have the experience of witnessing that they are doing something that puts your family members, kids, parents, in danger, then you have a right to say, this is my home. Please don't disrespect it. I have to ask you to leave. I have to ask you to leave. And because there are bad apples, the bad apples ruin it for the bunch. And that is when it's heart-wrenching. That is when it's difficult. Because people, I believe, are inherently good and mean well. But the bad apples ruin it for the bunch. And if you can't tell which are the bad apple until those bad apples are extracted, you're not going to be at peace. And I think it's important that we live in peace in our home, and that we live safely, and that we can go out and do as we wish, when we wish, how we wish to do it, within, the parameters of the law or the rules of the house. And that, to me, is the sort of world I want us all to live in. And that's the sort of world, country, house that I feel like most of us felt like up until recent years. And I feel that the minute, I'll speak about my home, well, it's difficult because I don't have kids, but the minute our kids aren't safe, then we need to make adjustments. Because I believe the kids are the most important thing in the world. We need to honor, treasure, and cherish their young lives and their innocence. And I believe that everything we do should revolve around the future of our children. And when that is tampered with, and when that is no longer a priority or isn't upheld, right? Upheld, then I think we need to do what's right by the house. So it's a very complex issue, very complex, because it breaks my heart to see people walking to another country. You tell me to walk downtown in my own city, and I'm like, what? And these brave, courageous people, humans, are walking to another country? Several countries away? Blows my mind how admirable and valiant that is. Blows my mind. That, to me, is admirable. To want a better situation, a better home for your family, that you're willing to walk through countries to have that for your family, blows my mind how immensely incredible that is. And at the same time, we cannot permit people with ill intent, and that's putting it very mildly, in their hearts and in their actions into our home. So I wish to do away with that negative, dangerous element in our home. And everybody else, I want a solution for. Because that's not the majority, right? The bad apple's not the majority. But it is the reality. So, wow. Nate, thank you for giving me an opportunity to share that. It's been on my heart, and it's really difficult because like I said, I love humans. I love humans. I don't care what nationality you are. On the contrary, I think it's even cooler because you share with me something new, different that I had no idea was possible, right? I love learning about different cultures and countries. And so from a human standpoint, it breaks my heart. And from an American citizen standpoint, I want our house to be safe. I want a safe house for us all. And I think that's what the mamas and the papas need to work on. Woo! Y'all! When in doubt, snap it out. Singing bowl. We're going to sing bowl this out. I hope you all are okay. I hope you were able to receive my message with the heart it was intended with, and that I hope it didn't ruffle any feathers, because that's not what I'm in life to do. And I hope that we have some resolution soon. So in the meantime, all I can do is sing us a bowl. You know what I mean. Let's do this, guys. You gotta take a deep breath in. You know how we roll. Take a deep breath in. I think that's what so many of us want, is peace and ease and calm through these storms, the inevitable storms that do and will present themselves in our lives. When we navigate them with ease, peace, calm, splash of grace. It's a reminder of how we can come back to our own peace in a world that moves fast, in a world that is going to do so many things out of our control. Our only job and responsibility is to imagine an ideal future scenario. When I'm asked how I feel about something, and I feel like I can shed perhaps a different way of looking at something so complex and so difficult and so relevant to our now current state in which we find ourselves, then I do feel a responsibility. And it's difficult because we're always told not to talk about certain things. And so I hope I depoliticized it in the best way possible. Because that's, a tough line to walk. So just know that that we have an incredible Fry fam. I agree that we are here because of what we mean for each other. And I also want to make sure that you guys listen to different sides of the story, right? I think it's so easy to hear one side or one rationale or one, but there's so many perspectives in everything, right? And I think you can have mutual respect regardless of having different perspectives. And I think it's a beautiful thing when someone shares with you why they think a certain way, and it opens you up to maybe understanding someone differently or understanding someone better, because their experiences and their history informs how they perceive the world. So I believe, Jovanna, I believe that just because you think differently than me doesn't mean I disrespect you or I shun you or I outcast you. I believe that this world is big enough for all of us to have our own perspectives and to be okay when someone disagrees. And you can agree to disagree. It's just important for you to go with what feels right in your heart, and knowing that it comes from kindness and love, that it is meant to uplift. It is meant to uplift. When it comes from kindness and love, it is meant to uplift. And so I want you all to just protect your heart. Protect your heart. And just, I'm so proud of you. I'm so grateful for you. Angela and Mona, whatever potentially bad apples were trying to come in here to ruin it for the bunch, they took action. They had to do what they did to make sure we were safe, that I am safe, right? I can only do this if I feel safe. I can only be here if I know you're safe. And I am not able to do both. So that is why we have the most incredible mods, right? Because we each need help. And Mona and Angela help me help us to stay safe. And you see the importance of that? Do you see how this fry fan is our home? And we're not going to permit anyone to come in here and derail, devalue, or destroy that. It's unacceptable. And when something is unacceptable, you get a certain amount of tries, is what I'm understanding. But after that, your ill intention is clear and you need to be removed. And that is at the root of it. That's how I feel. That's what's in my heart. It's interesting how I'm able to parlay it back into what's happening in the chat, and yet also illustrate the example of what is happening in our homes, right? On the broader scale in the world. We're not the only ones, but we are taking the lead, and we are going to need to do some tough love to keep our homes and families, and most of all, our children safe. At the end of the day, if the children are safe to be children, adults are doing a good job. Woo! Y'all! I didn't prepare you for that one, but I felt it. I was just like, do you see how quick things can turn and how quick you can spiral up to stay in the positive? That's what we're going to lead with, because we are stronger together. And I love it. I love it. I love it. We'll stay light and bright and lead the way. I know you all have answers and solutions and better ways of doing things, and I hope we all hear your way. Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful weekend. Please keep safe. Protect your heart. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And most of all, thank you for sharing your heart. We love you. I love you. Bye for now. Now I'm getting really I miss you guys. I truly miss you guys. Okay. I love you guys. Happy Friday. Go enjoy it. So if you liked this video, go check out the others. I got lots of videos on this channel, so keep watching.